I'd love to take a blatant negative and make it a positive if I can. And that negative is 2020. Uh,
Good topic.
yeah, pretty much everyone around the world, every political party, every gender, every race, every ethnicity, and every sociodemographic type has something pretty strongly negative to say about 2020.
Yeah.
Um, it really didn't discriminate. It just screwed everybody. Um, so I'd love to take the positive there and say, surprisingly, when you look back as we're almost at the end of the year, what's one positive experience for sheltering arms, or what's something positive that you're taking away for SA as it pertains to 2020?
I think for sheltering arms, couple positives did absolutely came out of this. First of all, like any crisis, while some people you see not handle them well at all, there are people who rise to the occasion in ways that you maybe never would have anticipated. And there were some of our staff who truly, I don't think I'm exaggerating when I use the word heroic. They really were just out with families who have nothing and who were ravaged by the virus, and who, many were undocumented or at least working off the books, so they weren't getting unemployment. They lost their livelihood. They really couldn't put food on the table. They couldn't put diapers on their children. And my staff were just out and about, bringing donations to people, managing, figuring it out, getting them food. It could be a Saturday. We had a family call on a Saturday night and say, we have no food for our family for the weekend. Somebody got in their car, drove from New Jersey to Queens, and brought the family food and gift cards and things. So truly a lifeline for many of these families. So I think that on the very basic level, that was a real positive, and just to see the strength and the teamwork of our staff, just everything was kind of, we have to figure this out. There was no like, oh, we can't do that. So that was amazing to see. And I see it all the time, but not in such a concentrated effort and not so many things happen at once. I think when you work in child welfare, you see heroism and people who really are out there saving people. But this was just like every day, I felt like there was something that came up that was exceptional. And second, I think, was just really starting to think differently about how we work with our families and particularly our youth. Because our mental health services, which have always done really well with young people, but kids, teenagers don't show up for appointments or are late or don't feel like talking one day. In telehealth, it was really kind of fascinating just how quickly they adapted to it. And I think some of the therapists were surprised how much actually the therapeutic relationship became stronger. They felt like the young people, in some ways, they're so on their phones all the time. They're kind of used to FaceTiming with their friends. Like, it almost set a better dynamic for some of them. Not that they want to get rid of in-person contact, because there's nothing like that. And you can read body language and you can do those things, but they really felt like it's going to change our service delivery forever. That really adapting to all of those kind of remote services, being more flexible. I had a therapist who would like take a walk on the boardwalk in Far Rockaway with one of the young people just to have his session. And that's what you need, especially with youth who are not gonna, lay down on the couch and tell their problems to a shrink. It's just not the kind of therapy that works for them. So I think those really adapting our services for the long term and just seeing how our staff were so incredibly capable of responding to whatever came their way.
That's incredibly impressive because you hit on two different dimensions of strength. One is brute force strength, which was that it's your partners, right? Those who work with you at Sheltering Arms, it sounds like, just put their head down and did the work because it was so necessary.
Right.
And did it at both, I'm sure, at a hard, frenetic pace and a consistent volume. That's impressive. But recognizing that part of strength is flexibility and finding a new tool to leverage greater connection, greater engagement with your audience that needs you even more via technology. Sounds like you have a new direction in some ways to continue to expand the services that you're offering.
I think so. I don't think we would have anticipated that. I think we thought it was better than nothing doing telehealth as opposed to actually being better for some people in some circumstances. It does not, change entirely. We'll still have in-person sessions, especially with families where you want to see the dynamic, and there's still so much work to be done on that front, but I do think it will change our direction for the long haul.